Hello, everyone. I'm Anushka. And with Mother's Day right around the corner, today we are in conversation with Dr. Deepa Malik, author of Bring It On. So, Dr. Deepa Malik is India's foremost para athlete with 23 international medals, including a silver at the 2016 Rio Paralympics and several national awards. She is also the recipient of the Padma Shri, the Khel Ratna, and the Arjuna Award, and the first Indian female paraplegic swimmer, biker, and car rallyist, holding four Limca world records. Thank you, ma'am, for being here.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be speaking to you.
Yeah, same here. So I have some pretty interesting questions. I found your memoir to be extremely inspiring and
Thank
captivating, and I'm really excited to be diving into this conversation. So this thing that really stuck out to me was that how in the prologue to your memoir you have mentioned, quote, "My life has been a continuous test of proving myself over and over at every stage. My challenges are as much to do with being a person with disabilities as with being a woman, and starting a sports career at 39 when most athletes think of retiring, I face ageism." Unquote. What inner resolve or belief helped you rise each time and transform these intersecting barriers of ableism, sexism, and ageism into stepping stones?
think somewhere I call myself a woman of solutions. Instead of harping upon the problems and cribbing about them, I think what I have learned, and I give a lot of credit to my parenting, I adapt very quickly. And adaptability actually means that you have gained the knowledge or the skill to pave through a certain hurdle
Yeah.
and innovate a solution to be able to overcome that. So I get more busy on how I have to go around this challenge. And when I say intersection of challenges, it's because, like you said, I started my sports career very late because I got paralyzed at 30 and then looking for a new identity, craving to enhance myself uh, more than in myself in the eyes of others. Because everybody just looked at me as a crippled woman who did not have bladder and bowel control and will die in a room. And this whole concept of it felt like a cage.
Yeah.
It felt as if more than being caged in a body which has got very less mobility, uh, I was caged in the perceptions of others about my disability. And to start playing at the age of 38, 39 was basically just to prove ability beyond disability, to change mindsets, to let people know that there is enough left in me to celebrate life. So it was very challenging in the beginning when I joined the world of sports. And of course, I wanted to add, I always say, I wanted to add the word fashion, happiness, travel, tourism, um, adventure, fitness, beauty to the word disability or to the word of being a wheelchair person. So that has been the journey. And when I joined the world of sports, it was I was double the age of most of the athletes. Uh, Even speaking English was not a very positive point because it alienated me. Most of the children at that point of time came from polio disability because amputees were not participating that much. The prosthetic limbs were very expensive, and people were not exploring sports prosthetic limbs at that point of time, 20 years ago, 2 decades ago. And similarly, when I had to, even the wheelchair users were not many. And polio normally struck people from low financial strata, from rural areas. So here was an urban woman, wife of an army colonel, daughter-in-law of an army general, a Mem Sahab who speaks English and is double the age, and a woman who enters the world of sports. Somebody who was mature enough to ask questions, somebody who was mature enough and learned enough to understand what were the available facilities or provisions as per the particular norms and could read them out and call them out. Even my coaches were younger than me. So to be able to be coached, when you are already 40 years old and you have a certain lifestyle and then leaving everything behind and
Hmm.
training, it took me a while to even get converted into an athlete, real athlete, who could listen to the coach. Because being a homemaker, you're always in charge. And being there was a lot of challenges of I think gender education. Now for me, being educated was a challenge. The age, the
Yeah,
disability.
true.
Yes.
That's a very inspiring outlook of looking at things. With this, I get to my second question. You call yourself wheelchair liberated instead of wheelchair bound, which is a very striking reversal in perception. So, how did you arrive at this redefinition, and what does it say about the way that the world views mobility, independence, and the true meaning of strength?
See, I why I call myself wheelchair liberated, because I think wheelchair is an assistive aid which is meant for your mobility. It is meant to give you the power to move from place A to place B because your limbs don't work. And I see uh, so many people, you like yourself, everybody wears spectacles because they have weak eyes. And this is something
Yeah,
my sister-in-law told me. He says, if you think it as a taboo, if you feel shy sitting on a wheelchair, it is just another assistive aid, and it is going to break that barrier of being room bound. I could have been called room bound in lack of infrastructure, in lack of public transportation, in lack of people envisioning a person who has chest below total paralysis to travel. Um, there were no availability of wheelchair friendly bathrooms, enough ramps. There wasn't much talk about accessibility 25 years ago. So people's mindsets were bound. People's idea was so stereotypically bound that a woman like me will probably just remain in a room. And what made me step out of the room without having the power of walking with the legs and actually lifting my legs to make steps, it was my wheelchair which broke the barrier of being bound, homebound, stuck to a place, limited mobility. And the moment I got that freedom of sitting on a wheelchair, the power to uh, get rehabilitated enough to learn how to use a wheelchair to my advantage, it's then when I could literally be out there, have social integration, go to the market to buy vegetables, to attend my children's parents teachers meets, to go with my family and watch a movie, to sit by a initially by a park and watch my children play, to even start a garden restaurant project as my first entrepreneur financial independence initiative. Wheelchair gave me everything. uh, it made me enjoy the sunlight. I could sit out in the lawn and look at the trees whispering in my ears when the wind blows. There was so much that this wheelchair gave me. And people just called me wheelchair bound. I thought, and that's why I say, um, the quality of life in a paralyzed body that wheelchair has added has actually made me wheelchair liberated. It has
wow.
taken me around the world.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's the way that you were describing everything. The sunlight and the joy of watching your children play. It was so poignant and beautiful. Um, that's a very interesting perception. Um, So, as Mother's Day is just around the corner, and in your memoir, you have written that you found strength in your motherhood, that you knew how to, you knew you had to get better for your girls, and this is something that caught my eye because all the challenges that you have overcome, it had something to do with motherhood. You have time and again written about how you wanted to get better for your girls, and you have described motherhood as your greatest source of strength. And with your older daughter's journey with hemiplegia reflecting many of your own challenges, how did that
Absolutely.
shared experience particularly shape your understanding of resilience and reinforce your belief in choosing possibility over limitation?
When I was told that you have 7 days to celebrate walking and maybe celebrate life, and because the surgery was very complicated, the tumors which I had as a child, which had left me crippled, paralyzed for 4 years as a young child between the age of 5 years and 9 years, the recurrence happened, and before the recurrence happened, I had relived the trauma of stereotypical outlook of people towards disability in my daughter's accident followed by stroke on the left side of the body due to internal bleeding and dilatations. The left of her body got totally paralyzed. She was barely 14 months old. And that was the time when I actually understood. Because when I was young, I was just a 5-year old. I never really understood uh, why my mother cried in the hospital. But almost 2 decades plus, when my daughter got paralyzed on the left side, I understood why my mother cried, because it is so painful to hear uh, people say that this child is going to be a liability. This, especially a girl child, is going to be more like a burden, and everything is again, um, it's woven around the stereotypical thoughts of beauty,
Yeah.
how people perceive beauty, um, how people perceive that if she's crippled, she will never get a life partner in the future. So she'll have a very lonely life. Everything about life is only pinned on a certain ideas. For us at that moment, I was only praying that my child should be alive. I, sh- my child should gain um, enough strength to live through this accident. No mother can plead for death for a child. And for me, especially, that was a moment of gratitude to my parents. Because the way my parents had brought me up, never giving up on me, how could have I given up on my daughter? And similarly, another question that 20 years went by, and in this 20 years, so much of education, so much of progress. We had moved on to be on the moon. We were talking space, we were talking computers. Uh, and the view about disability remained the same. Nothing changed over 2 decades. And then my tumors came back. And in that, there was a very bleak hope of life, because it all depended on how much, while extracting the tumor, the infection will spread to the different organs, or the through the spinal cord reach maybe the brain, which was the closest and the main human body muscle that controls the entire body. So we were battling between the choices of life and death, and people in their minds were battling between walking and not walking, being
Mhm.
able to pass urine or not have the control on urine. And I was like, I still have the responsibility of bringing up two daughters. One was 3 years old, one was still struggling with her disability and recovering from her hemiplegia. She was under rehabilitation, and the husband was at the Kargil war. Who knew even if he would return alive? So that's what I said. As a mother, I never gave up. Even when the doctors were struggling, post surgery trauma happened. the brain fluid, which is called the cerebral fluid, that leaked out of the surgery site. Body slipped into a coma. I had to be reoperated. Um, and not even in one visit of my doctor, he said, even if you are not conscious, you would only say that when I wake up, I'm going to do this. When
Yeah.
I'm better, I'm going to oil my daughter's hair. I want to give them a bath. I want to pack their school bag. Uh, Even if I'm not able to do it, I want to oversee whether they're having nutritious food.
Yeah.
Um, are they looking good wearing those uniforms? Has the physiotherapist come to get the physiotherapy done for my daughter? I just wanted to be a part of their life. I wanted to see them go to college. I wanted to see them, uh, probably not that they're married, but eventually find their partners, grow in their career, do something good for their country, be empowered. I wanted to see all that. And to be able to see that, I had to accept uh, the condition in which I was.
Yeah.
If doctors said that I will be living in a chest below paralyzed body, I was ready to learn my new body. I was ready to adapt because for me, it the gift would have been seeing my daughters grow up. The gift would have been a festival celebration called life.
Yeah. That's a very beautiful answer, and that's for Mother's Day especially. I could gauge how much strength you derived from your motherhood when you were going through all of these challenges.
And
Thank you.
Anushka,
Yeah.
one more thing. I knew that my daughter's condition will also may improve a little, but there will be a partial impact. For example, she still has spasticity on her left side of her body. The length of her left hand is not as much as the right hand, or the power in her left side of the body is not as much as the right. But I knew I could lead with an example. If she saw a mother in disability doing well,
Yeah.
uh, she would, that's what the mothers are. They are the leaders, and a good
Wow.
leader is who can lead with an example. And I
Yeah.
just wanted to do that. I wanted to be that role model for my children, and I'm so happy that both my daughters have done wonderfully well,
Yeah.
and they have grown up into beautiful two human beings, uh, independent, yet very compassionate, working hard. They give back a lot to society through social work.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yes.
Yeah.
Devika has gone on to be a para athlete herself. We are the only mother daughter duo in the world who have played together in international sports and won
That's
medals for the
amazing.
country.
Wow, that's super inspiring. And the
Yeah.
way that you said, I'm pretty sure that you have not served as an example just for your daughters, but for the entire world. And this is what this memoir has done as well. People have loved it. People have loved your portrayals of your challenges and the way that, with grit and determination, you have overcome everything and be the person that you are today. And thank you for this conversation with us. Um, this was extremely inspiring and extremely motivating. So thank you so much, Deepa ma'am, for
Thank you for
joining the show.
celebrating Bring It On, and a happy Mother's Day to one and all.
Yeah.